came together just to meet a need, during the time of the shutdown of schooling. And since then, we've grown closer, and we really had the opportunity to get to know one another and also share stories. So that is essentially what our group is. I am one of the founding members along with Lynn and Mandy. And so introduce yourselves to the new folks, y'all.
Everybody, I'm Stant. I am the current Arizona Teacher of the Year. And like Felice said, the three of us are founders of Indigenous Educators Unite. And so lately they've been pulling more work than I have, so which I'm so grateful for. And that's my role.
Awesome. Well, hi everyone. My name is Mandy Chermaya, and I am from Laguna Pueblo. I think I know most of everybody in here, but I'm a doctoral student in higher education at the U of A, and so I'm about halfway done through my dissertation work, trying to finish and trying to push through, but there are some nights it's just really hard to just get on the computer and read and write. So, but yeah, so I am honored to be in this space, and the hope for creating IEU is to bring folks together, Indigenous folks, allies together, to really get a fresh breath of air, fresh breath of Zoom air, so that when you come into this space, it engages you, learn things, and then we're able to connect and build community in this very interesting time. So that's the hope of IEU, and I'm so honored today to join with Mona. Mona is actually my supervisor at Native Nations Institute, so I'm a big fan of hers, and she's a very dynamic speaker. So looking forward to her presentation.
Also, we'd like to welcome guests. We see a lot of new faces in here. If you don't mind, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and where you're located at.
Hi, my name is Savi. So I came across your group on Instagram. And I live in Canada, but I am a registered early childhood educator. So I'm a third-year student of the Early Childhood Leadership program in George Brown College, and with hopes of pursuing my master's in Ryerson University. But one of my interests is really the Indigenous groups and what I can give back to them, because quite often I find that their needs and wants are often swept under the carpet, or they're not being put to the forefront like they should be.
That's great. Well, we were really grateful that you came across our account, especially because we don't officially have an account. So the fact that you saw a flyer out there in Instagram world is really, really cool.
But I came across
Speaks to this really important point that this group is actually also for educators who support Indigenous students. So while the majority of our group are Native and represent Native nations, mostly here in the United States, it's also open to educators who support Native students. So we're really glad that you came, and we would just really like to welcome our other guests. So if you're here for the first time and you're okay with coming on camera, please introduce yourself.
My name is Miriam Jorgensen, and I work with Mandy and Mona at Native Nations Institute at the University of Arizona, and I'm a total interloper. I really appreciate the invitation to come and hear this talk, which I'm really excited to hear. So thanks so much to all of you for organizing what seems like an amazing group. We keep hearing bits about it at like staff meetings, and hear the the wonder and awe that you just have created during this time. So thanks for letting me come along.
Thank you. And thank you so much for the awesome work that you do at NNI. There's so much fantastic staff and just initiatives that come out of there. So we're really grateful to be partners with you on the University of Arizona campus, and also just for the great people that we get to know. And so we sort of feel like we have an inside connection with Mandy being over there and talking up this group too. So it's really, really cool. Thank you for coming. Anyone else new and wants to say hello to the group?
Hi, I'm also new, also an interloper, and my name is Amy Jorgensen in relation to Mary Jorgensen. I work at NI, I'm the graphic designer there, and I'm a big fan of Indigenous education, so I just want to see what you guys have going on. So thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. Awesome. Anyone else?
I'll go. Hi, everybody. My name is Kirsten Sosi. I work for Tucson Unified School District with the Native American Student Services Department. Primarily serve at the high school level. So for this year, we have gone district-wide, but primarily I'm at Tucson High, Catalina, Rincon, UHS, and Oyama Elementary. So I'm glad to be here.
Hey everyone, this is technically my second time coming to these meetings. And so my name is Karina Rodriguez. I'm the recruitment coordinator in the College of Humanities, and Mandy and Felice are some of my best friends. So excited to be here and learn from Mona and just nice to connect with you all.
Can't remember if I introduced myself last time, but I'll do it really quickly. Hi everyone, I'm Diana Anko Angide. I am Navajo on my mother's side, and I'm Kiowa and Comanche on my father's side. I worked previously in Arizona. I got my undergrad and graduate out there. I'm an alum of NAU as well as ASU. My master's is in higher ed. I'm also a former classroom teacher. I used to teach second grade. And then I just recently completed my doctoral program from USC, focusing on Indigenous higher ed, and currently working thank you. And currently working on the East Coast at Yale University as the Assistant Director for the Native American Cultural Center.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Emily Jansen, and I'm with Northern Arizona University with university admissions. And Rebecca Alvarado invited me to this meeting today. She's my supervisor, and I get to work with students in New Mexico and then also here in Arizona. So I'm just really excited to be here and learn. So thank you for having me.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Daniel Gastelum. I'm actually joining you via phone call, calling in. I am supervisor for Yaqui Education Services, K through 20 programming.
Daniel, it's been a long time. It's me, Felice, and Mandy. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for the invite, and thank you for reaching out. I appreciate the opportunity, and just like everyone else, I'm excited to hear some more positive ways we can encourage our students.
Really, we have an announcement from one of our colleagues, Christy. She's a doctoral student, and we are going to give her a few minutes to open up this space so that she can share about her doctoral work because she needs help. So we're definitely here to help as within our network to open up this space for her. So if you can unmute yourself and just share really quick about what you'd like to share with the group.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see everyone again. I've been coming to the group off and on for the past couple months, but I'm really excited to get started on my dissertation research. So I was working previously at a tribal college, and I got really interested in dynamics related to gender and leadership. And what I was noticing looking through Harvard research was that American Indian women are getting degrees at a very high rate, higher than men, which follows the same trend across racial groups. But when you look at leadership, men still dominate upper leadership and upper management positions. So that just started, me thinking about women's career aspirations and reading articles about American Indian women's career aspirations. And so I found a survey that has been used mostly with white women, but one Korean researcher modified this survey to be used with Korean women. And it's really interesting because it looks at education, at achievement, and leadership. So these are the three factors that this aspiration scale looks at. And it's pretty short. That's what I liked about it. And I thought about creating a new survey, but that's a lot of work. And so I thought, well, maybe I could modify an existing tool. So my research is going to be in 3 phases. The first phase is talking circles. So I would just want to hear what American Indian women think about this survey as it is, not modified. I know because when I looked at it, I thought there's nothing about community, there's nothing about giving back to the tribal community. It's very, there's a lot of I statements in it. I want to achieve, I'm working for excellence, you know, and nothing about community or family or things that I think in general, most tribal people hold really important as values. So I really, in order to make this modification, I need feedback from American Indian women about what they think. So it's really just an opinion. And I wanted to do talking circles instead of focus groups because I thought that's more culturally appropriate. And so I'm recruiting right now for anyone that would be willing to join a talking circle. It'll be on Zoom, probably an hour to an hour and a half, and you'll get sent the survey beforehand. And then review it and then just let me know your thoughts. So it's pretty simple. Next phase will be interviews and the last phase of pilot study. So I've got a long road ahead of me, but my hope is that I can give this to AHEC, the American Indian Higher Education Consortium. I had to go through them in order to get my IRB approved. And they were really excited about it. And they asked me, well, what are you going to do with this tool? And I said, well, I can't use it, but I think you could probably use it. And they said, yes, we would love to have part ownership of this. And so that's really my goal, is to create something that tribal colleges can use and implement that might be helpful in leadership selection or early identification of leaders for mentorship, for building future leaders. So that's the goal. And I'm going to send out a flyer. So if I could just send that out, then that'll have all my contact information. And then I would really appreciate anyone willing to join. So thank you.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much. If you can put the info in the chat box so folks can see it, that'd be really helpful. All right, great. So we're gonna jump into our speaker, our awesome friend Mona, who's gonna share this workshop. And again, like I mentioned before, we're a huge fan of hers. She is an amazing facilitator and presenter, brings great energy. So we're looking forward to your presentation, Mona. Thank you so much for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. I'm so honored to share the space with all of you, and I am gonna get my PowerPoint up. 1 second. All right. And again, my name is Mona Nojakum, and I'll get into some introductions here in a second. Okay, perfect. First, I want to start off and acknowledge that we are on, the University of Arizona is on the traditional land of the Tana'atam Nation, as well as lands of the Paskayaku tribe. And so at every beginning of every meeting that we usually have online, we like to introduce and acknowledge the stewards of those lands. And so we do that here at NNI. And I'm actually in Taos, New Mexico right now, so I'm on the traditional Tiwa lands. And I just want to share a quick bit about where I work, and then I want to get started because I want to make this as useful to you all as I can. And so here's NNI, the Native Nations Institute vision and mission on screen. And so really the Native Nations Institute at the University of Arizona, we serve as a self-determination, governance, and development resource. And so the NNI was founded by the University of Arizona and the Udall Foundation, as well as it was built on the research project of the Harvard Project of American Indian Economic Development. And we provide executive educational and professional development opportunities for Native Nation leaders. We conduct policy analysis, and we on successful aspects of Indigenous governance. And we also develop all of these resources into informational online resources, which might be of use to a lot of you. And so we have the Indigenous Governance Database, and we also do a lot of outreach, and that's a part of who I am and what I do at NNI. And so this is the part where I kind of, it's comparable to whenever you're on the res and you meet someone new for the first time and you're like, hey, who's your family? So this is my point where I want to relate to all of you. And so I'm a program coordinator at the Native Nations Institute, and I do a lot of facilitations and a lot of work with our youth programs, specifically the Native American Youth Entrepreneurship Program, as well as the Future Native Nation Builders Program. And one of my programs that I work within is the Udall Foundation Native American Congressional Internship Program. And so I'm honored to work with these youth as they spend their summer in Washington, D.C. Usually, of course, this didn't happen this year, so we're looking to hopefully implement that in the future. And it's really a point of self-discovery and growth, which includes tribal policy, working on the Hill, understanding the federal and tribal government to government relationship, and gaining that practical experience. But during this COVID era, we've had to, you know, switch lanes very quickly, as a lot of you, and so I'm hopeful that I can equip you with some of the skill sets that we've gained. And of course, to give you some background content, I'm not an expert or anything like that, but I do want to share the knowledge that we've gained and, you know, hopefully land some valuable points with each of you and how you can incorporate that with your different audiences and different scenarios, and that you can engage the youth, whether it's high school, college age, or even adults. So I've also done some reunion work. So doing some kind of online facilitation, which I've worked with Mandy on. And yeah, so how we can all better serve Indigenous populations, specifically youth in this case. All right, so we're gonna start off with an activity. And for this one, it is going to be, so I'm gonna have to stop share and new share. So that's also the fun part of doing all of these online things, is that whenever you're switching lanes, you gotta know how to, or you gotta be ready to load something else. And so we're gonna do an online activity. And let me get that pulled up. All right, and so I wanna get to know you all a little bit more. And so with using this, is called Poll Everywhere. And Mandy, if you want to, oh, I actually put it in there. So there's two different ways that you can respond to this. And I linked one of the ways, which is copying and pasting that link. And, or you can text UDAL I 711-237-607. So this is just jumping right into getting those activities and how you can engage the youth and make your sessions visual, you know, also incorporating those different learning modes and techniques to engage, as well as, you know, make it interactive and fun. All right, so again, you can find the link, which you just copy and paste into a new browser, or you can text UDAL I 711-237-607. And so what are three words would you use to describe yourself? And answers are anonymous, so feel free to utilize whatever words you would like. All right, and so this is gonna create an interactive word cloud. So if some of you say, you know, that you're honest, and so that's gonna start growing larger. And again, this is a good visual representation of how you can engage youth and young learners too. Creative, looks like we have a lot of creative folks, which is really fun and interesting. We have some students, teachers. Resi, I like that one. That would probably be one of mine if I was doing this. Short, same. Introverted, smiley. We have a lot of creative and kind learners. Hangry, we all get there sometime. I get it. Reliable, outgoing, motivated. So you'll see that this will just change dynamically as we go through. And so I just want to let you all know, so I can get to know you guys a little bit more, you all. And you can kind of see and understand each other a little bit more as well during that time, building that community. And in a lot of our sessions that we facilitate at the Native Nations Institute, some of them happen over a span of 4 months. Some of them happen at one time, 2 hours. So when utilizing these tools, you know, feel free, if you have a course that you're teaching throughout the semester, or if you just have this one time set time that you are spending with these young folks, you know, you really want to make it fun and engaging, or you can utilize it throughout the semester too. All right, great. Reliable, quiet, hopeful, positive. Those are all beautiful adjectives to describe yourselves. And so thank you all for that. And in today's overview, just want to get a, just give you kind of a roadmap to what we're looking at today, which is also a great way to utilize accessible learning modes too, you know, make sure folks understand. And I didn't know exactly what my time points were going to be today, but usually I would outline, I'm doing this in X amount of times, I'm doing this in X amount of times, so that people can understand how we're moving forward with this. Especially, you know, we have a lot of different people that learn at different levels, and we want to make sure that we're honoring those at the same time. And we also want to, you know, while we're doing these, I want you to think about how we can incorporate the 4 C's collaboration, creativity, communication, critical thinking, and we're going to add the fifth C of community into all of these different interactive and engaging online learning platforms and modes. Right. And so for this next one, I really want to emphasize humanizing the online experience, right? Where right now you might be experiencing Zoom fatigue. A lot of folks are just being on these meetings. You're not used to that. A lot of the younger learners aren't used to being on computers. And so, you know, one of the really important pieces that happens naturally occurs is small talk. You know, that's also a part of understanding the content and learning. And so making sure you build out that time intentionally for small talk, social time, and connection, and especially connection with your learners, with the instructors, and share more than you normally would. That's also a really important piece, is to being a little bit more vulnerable, because again, you don't get that face-to-face interaction that you normally would be able to, you know, kind of understand people's personalities and different things like that. And again, that goes to if you're engaging and interacting with them on a one-time basis, or if you're engaging them throughout a semester or throughout different months. Practice empathy, right? We're all in this human experience, and sometimes things aren't gonna work. Sometimes things happen. One funny story I have is that whenever I was just getting off of Zoom and I was amped, I was like, great, that went fantastic. And I have a little son, and he came running up and he was crying. And so I was like, oh goodness, okay, I have to feed him. And so, you know, you want to make sure that you're engaging with folks, but also know when not to. And so that's also an important point. Invite participants or students to student hours. So even just making that little shift from office hours, which for young learners, you're like, what? There's no office. I'm not familiar with offices, to student hours. And then work towards rapport, right? So you really want to build that relationship and community. And I have a tool to share when using this as well. This is a really fun way of engaging folks beforehand. And so whenever you get your course set up or your session, whatever that may be, you want to introduce yourself. You want to take that time beforehand to get to know them, especially in this online mode of learning. And that can be either setting up Zoom small groups where you're getting to know them on a one-on-one or, you know, a small group basis, 3-to-1, whatever your ratios may be, or utilizing Flipgrid and having them respond to each other. And so this is a really fun one that's called Flipgrid. And I just want to show you, oh, I might have to share. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this because I didn't click it.
Hi everyone, my name
Can you hear?
is Brianne Morrow. I'm from Hawaii, and I'm currently majoring in human dimensions of natural resources. Currently, I work as a research assistant for Dr. Dominique David Chavez of CSU and of the Native Nations Institute in Arizona. For this week, I'm looking forward to learning more about Native nations and intergovernmental and intertribal relations to really enrich my work in our current research, and to also be able to apply what we learn to my very own community here in Hawaii. So thank you for having me. Thanks for having all of us. And I look forward to meeting you all.
Hi everyone, my name is James Miller. I'm a rising senior at Gustavus Adolphus College, which is located in southern Minnesota. I'm majoring in biology and geography, but I have a particular interest in regenerative agriculture. And this is a session I'm really looking forward to because it's a topic I have relatively little knowledge about. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to learn from all of you. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Anna Feldman. I'm a student at Syracuse University studying environmental engineering. I don't have a Native affiliation, and I'm super excited to learn more about Native governance. My specific interests lie with water quality and equitable access.
Great, so I just wanted to equip you with utilizing what's called Flipgrid. And so again, and a point of emphasis in building that social presence, you know, is imperative for community building and collaboration. So you could always, you know, ask some funny, quirky questions, whatever you may be, or you want it to be something specific that's relating to what your content is. And you can have them respond to each other. So there can be threads. on that as well. But I just wanted to give you a quick snippet. That's called Flipgrid. It's free. And then at the end, I'm going to kind of list out all of the different things that we've utilized today. So again, I want to practice what I preach. So I'm going to do all of these engaging interactive activities with you all today. And so for this one, this is called the best worst idea. So I don't know if you all have experienced this before. And so for this activity, you're going to work in a team. So it's going to be about 3 people, and we're going to put you in breakout rooms, which of course I'm going to emphasize the importance of breakout rooms in the small group activity, to generate ideas about how to solve a problem. But there's a catch with this one. So I want you to think of bad ideas. So really bad ideas to solve the problem. So the winning team will think of the worst idea. So here's an example of kind of what I'm talking about. So whenever I say, the problem is I can't open this lid of peanut butter, what's a bad idea? Smash it with a hammer? Great, it's open. Worst idea is use the jaws of life. And so I've actually been a part of one really fun activity where they were asking about, you know, those little mouse or something that comes in the plastic covering where you're like, how am I supposed to open this covering? Like, there's no possible way. And one person came up with this entire story about how Looney Tunes, Roadrunner, and Coyote would come in there and they do one of their dynamite activities. And so it's something like that, something very, you know, so that's really the idea of what this is. So imagine the best way to teach an online Zoom class. So this is the best worst idea. So keep that in mind as we move forward with this. So we are going to use what is called Google Jamboard. And essentially this is a fun interactive way that utilizes like sticky notes instead of using the usual Google PowerPoint slide or Google Documents, different things like that. And you're gonna do it. You're free to work however you want in whatever way you want in that space. You might wanna post ideas, you might wanna utilize photos, you might wanna, but the end result needs to be your final worst idea presented on your slide that you all agree upon. So we're gonna give you 5 minutes to come up with a consensus, which is also gonna be really fun. And then identify a spokesperson to report out.
Hi, my name is Jamie James. I'm actually a quality first assessor with the QRS program for Arizona. And so I don't work with any students, but I do go into the early education programs and to assess the ones that are in quality first and assess their programs and assess the environments. So.
Nice. Yeah, my name is Todd Wilcox, and I work with junior high and high school students in Winslow, Arizona. I work in the Winslow Residential Hall. It's a BIE, well, tribally controlled school. So it's a residential program. So our students reside here at the residential hall in town, and they attend the local junior high and high school with Winslow Unified School District. This year we're serving 61 students, but we're not actually open to students. So we're doing stuff, pretty much we're gonna start doing stuff like virtually. Students trying to tutor and provide academic support and counseling services as much as we can, advisements through virtual means. One of the biggest challenges, of course, is just internet accessibility. Majority of our students live out on the Navajo and Hopi Nation, so that's one of the kind of the things that we're having difficulty with. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you're out there, and hopefully those students will be able to come back soon once we get this whole COVID situation under control. But Brandon, you joined us just a second ago. Would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us where you're from.
Okay. Hello, my name is Brandon. I'm Navajo from the Four Corners. I'm one of the ITEP students from UA. My supervisor is Valerie Shirley, and she went ahead and gave us an invitation, and I'm here today, and so nice. It's good to meet you guys. No.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad Valerie sent you here. It's really good. But yeah, I guess so. We have like a couple of minutes to come up with the best worst idea for online teaching. Would any of you like to volunteer to share it out when we join the big group again?
I can do it.
Yes, thank you. Okay, cool, cool.
Yay, thank you, Todd.
Yeah, I'll try my best. Hopefully we'll win.
Okay, but now we just need to think of some ideas here. So what's the best, worst way to online teach?
Without a computer.
Exactly.
I guess the worst idea right now is, I guess having your screen black, I guess, and trying to engage with your students. I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah, like you don't own a computer. It's a pretty bad idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just thinking about like a teacher. Oh, you know, there's a tornado behind me, but yeah, I just wanted to give you this lecture. I don't know, something like that.
That's good. Or just like trying to do it during a really loud event, like you're at a powwow, you're like, pretty bad.
Or football game or something of that nature.
Yeah.
There you go. That's cool. That's funny.
Ooh, so maybe forgetting your screen is on and going about your business, that would be pretty awful.
Or your microphone.
Yeah.
Have you seen those people going to the bathroom while they're on Zoom?
Yeah.
They're like, whoa.
Oh, during a hurricane. On scene in the midst of a hurricane. Can you all see this thing? It's a sticky note, right? So like,
yeah.
Okay. That you can share with folks. And then you can even add like pictures. I was trying to find a native broadcaster, but you know, we're not in strong representation in all these spheres. But
have you guys seen Live PD?
No, what's that?
No, it's like a cop show, you know, like imagine yourself teaching and then all of a sudden the door breaks open and the cops come in and you never know what if you had a fugitive in your house, you know, or there might be taking one of your siblings while you're trying to teach. That'd be crazy.
So let's go ahead and start off with sharing out. We will have, we know that there are a lot of odd and in groups, so whoever wants to share first, please feel free.
I'll go ahead and start. It's me, Mario West. All right, so can you all hear me okay? Okay, so I was in the group with Vanessa and Kirsten, and I think the worst thing that we came up with was having everyone log in to the Zoom meeting without a lesson.
All right, thanks
I'll
for
pass the
sharing
torch.
out,
You're
Mario.
welcome.
Yeah, let's go to the next group.
I was in a group with Christy and Emily, I think it was her name. And one of the things, I used my own personal experience as a third grade teacher, and I had told them about how a lot of my kids' backgrounds is really, really loud. So if they're unmuted, the kids can't hear what I'm saying, or anything that's going on in the background where people are like dressed inappropriately in the back. Was probably one of the worst things that I've come across so far.
Hi, so I was in group 1 with Mark, Ms. Lopez, and Myra. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. So we came up with a few really bad ideas, like no login access, right? We just didn't know how to log in and we didn't have the credentials to. Someone may not have internet access, or even the presenters not having knowledge of the content they're supposed to be sharing, and the person receiving the information may not have a laptop. So your presentation skills might be 100%, but if the students don't have laptops, then that's downhill.
Thanks for sharing out. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. This is Sharon, doctor. I was in group 5 with Becca, Lynette, and Amy. And so we came up with 3 worst ideas. One was teaching while attending a heavy metal concert, teaching while getting a massage, and teaching with a silly face filter that cannot be turned off.
The last one's actually been done, so I imagine it didn't go well. All right, I think we have maybe 2 more groups, or maybe Todd might be up next.
Yeah, okay. So I was in group with Felice and Brandon and Jamie. So, okay, teaching on scene in the midst of a hurricane. That's what we came up with. We had some other ideas come up, like inspired by a live PD show, I believe, teaching while maybe the cops are breaking into your home, or teaching while sitting in the back of a police car, or while driving on the highway, whatever. So, oh, and then the other thing we talked about was teaching while like at a really loud event, such as like a football, basketball game, or better, a powwow in the background.
I have pictures and everything to go with it. That's fantastic. Or how many do we have?
Yeah, I can go. So I was in a group with Princess and Miriam, and so ours is winging the lectures while prohibiting participation and prohibiting the use of the video or the mute button.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much. And do we have anyone else?
Yeah, so I was in a group with Sheila and Diana, who had to leave, but we came up with doing all the notes and assignments printed off or handwritten.
That would be hard.
Here, I'll go.
Go ahead.
So my group was Raphael, myself, Mario, and Tia. So we just kind of discussed like the experiences we had, but we all could agree that popcorn reading straight from the textbook for hours would kind of be the worst. So, and especially a government document. So, not fun.
True. Yes, absolutely. Is there anyone else, or were those all of our groups?
I was just sharing some experiences in our group 4. I tried to volunteer our 4th person to speak, but I don't see him here. He disappeared. He bailed on us. So one of the things I've seen my students do, which I wouldn't do, is show up for class shirtless and proceed to put on a shirt while still holding their phone, and so you're seeing everything while they're putting on the shirt. And they weren't gonna put on a shirt until I said, you need to put on a shirt. So another one is running errands while teaching. And so, you're on your phone and you're like, okay, you're at the teller or at the drive-through. Oh, I'll take a number. Okay, I'm ordering food now. So that's not a good idea. And then another one that I saw another student do was have loud music in the background.
All right, usually we would vote on these and we would have a winner, but I think you all did a wonderful job. The hurricane one was great, as well as the shirtless one too. So they were all great. Thanks for participating, everyone. And we'll go ahead and continue because I know we are getting close now. All right. And so why do bad ideas lead to good ideas? And as you all know, it created, it took off the pressure. You were looking at coming up with, everyone had a level playing field, coming up with these bad ideas. You were able to trust each other, create trust in yourself. And this is a really good icebreaker to continue on building those relationships within. It loosens things up and it creates space for the good ideas as well. And then also another funny one that is fun to play in maybe utilizing, these different kinds of collaboration tools is wrong answers only. That's also a really funny one. So you put up a picture and you say wrong answers only. And one funny one that we had with our staff. And so I usually play lots of games with my staff, so they're kind of my guinea pigs, was here's a picture of Kiss, wrong answers only. And a good one that comes to mind was like, hey, that's the Dixie Chicks, right? Absolutely. All right. I would usually put a stretch break, but we're going pretty quick now. And so that's also a really important piece to emphasize, especially with youth. They need stretch breaks. And then you can put on this great PowerPoint tool that goes for X amount of seconds. This one will go for 60 seconds if you want to do that. And you can put little words on there. You're like, hey, come back. Did you get your snacks yet? So that's also fun to do with high school youth. All right, and then so moving on is choices. We really want to emphasize choices. You know, whenever you go to a cafeteria, think about all the different things that you would have. You know, some students want a hamburger, some want a pizza, some want an Indian taco. Maybe it may not be realistic, but that's what they want for lunch that day. And that's totally fine, and that's okay. So utilizing, allowing the opportunity to utilize digital storytelling, social media, the different avenues that they could create a Wakelet or a Padlet, which is just kind of like storyboards. Writing a blog post, if they just want to do the traditional, I want to write something, I want to type it up, that's what I want to do. Or creating a PowerPoint, presenting it out to folks too. We at NNI usually utilize project-based learning, so that's kind of what I did to you. We usually do content, we do a lot of different content, we'd say, great, now we'd like to see some kind of content understanding, you making sense of that and applying it and creating this, you know, coming up with a solution to whatever problem that we've given you based off of the content that we've utilized. And then, you know, just planning for delivery diversity at the same time too. Choices, cafeteria menus, and engaging the learner's brains by using a mix of content delivery. And I really want to emphasize the importance of how enriching the online experience can be now. Like usually I wouldn't be able to present to all of you because I work remotely. I'm not based out of Tucson. I would usually be in Seattle or Taos. And so this is an opportunity to bring in that video, those texts, the audio, presentation, guest lectures, speakers, so you know, so they don't get tired of seeing the same face. They're like, oh, Mona again. Okay, let's turn it down. And then I want to talk about just the different things that we utilize throughout. Online tools for success. So Poll Everywhere is an amazing platform. There's so many different things that you can do. You can do icebreakers on there. You can do Q&As. You can do clickable images. You can have competitions. You can have surveys. Talking about Flipgrid at the beginning prior to your session, even utilizing it and saying, hey, I have this question. Can you respond to that question on there? And then you need to respond to another student's question too, making that reply thread. Wakelet, Padlet, using chat. I usually like to use chat a lot, but today I just kind of am running now. Word clouds is a really fun way to engage, and making sure that you're really using different visual learning styles. You know, like I said, making this accessible to those that might be Zoom fatigue, that usually, you know, learn from seeing things in front of them, from drawing it out, that type of thing too. All right. And thank you so much, everyone. I am going to end. And so the last thing that I did want to emphasize is that we also always, whenever we're utilizing different things, is always using the survey. So whenever we end something, we want to learn and improve. And so I'm going to put a survey in the chat, and that is really just an opportunity. And you can just look at this. You don't have to fill it out if you don't want. That is an opportunity for everyone to give you feedback on what you're doing. You know, this is new to a lot of people. We're still learning. You notice that I tripped and fell a little bit, and I had to get back up because my Jamboards weren't working. And so asking, I really like Poll Everywhere for this, because we usually utilize different things online within Zoom. So there's a poll function. We always use it. But on here, you can do open-ended responses. And so you can kind of mess around with Poll Everywhere and see the different things there too.
We're going to give Mona a big clap and a big holler for her presenting. All right, ready? Unmute yourself on the count of 3. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Hey.
We went. Thank you, Mona. Thank you, Mona.
This is just a comment. Mona, I really want to thank you. You know, I'm a classroom teacher. I teach third grade. And just the simple way in which you integrated these little opportunities was great. I mean, I definitely could see using these with my third grade students, and they're not going to require a whole lot of pre-teaching in order for me to use them. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the different strategies that you introduced. And I actually think that even though, you know, a lot of us are coming from the higher ed sector, that people forget that adults and adult learners also really enjoy the interaction. I mean, it's just as you mentioned before with Zoom fatigue, like a lot of us are in meetings all day for work and then going to class, you know, the last thing we really are looking for is a lecture with one single mode, you know, where your professor is just speaking to you the entire time. So I'm going to try to share this and maybe nudge some of my my teacher friends to use a lot of these techniques in their classrooms, because we, just like young learners, enjoy, you know, having fun too in these spaces. So thank you so much for bringing that.
This is Todd. I do have a question that with my own students or something like that, how would I?
Oh, I'm sorry. What are you talking about Poll Everywhere or a survey?
Yeah, I guess that one in particular.
Whenever we do this, we are, you know, we're really looking for feedback. And it can show how many's done. It'll show you, you know, I always say at the end of my programming or whatever, you know, this is completely anonymous. It's for us to help gather information so that we can iterate and become better as we move forward in serving youth and Native youth especially. And so I really usually just ask, you know, how would you rate the content? And so these are all pre-filled options for the most part, and you can go and add your own questions. So if you're saying, what was your experience like using Zoom breakout rooms? Can you give me 1 to 5? Poor, fair, excellent. And then, so the reason that I like Poll Everywhere is because it gives you the opportunity to have an open-ended question. So whenever you use polls on Zoom, you can basically just click a number once. That's it. You can just say, it was good. And that's it. And then you'd have to ask for some type of feedback via the chat or some other link or something like that. So this place captures everything that you're looking for. And it's comparable to maybe, we often use Microsoft Forms, but that takes a lot of building out, a lot of different things that go into that. And so Poll Everywhere is just a quick, easy, accessible way to do that.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for that. This is my first time hearing about Poll Everywhere. I've never used it, so I think it's something that we could probably utilize here at our residential hall. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that's where the word clouds come from. You can create heat maps. So you can say, can you click on whatever is X, Y, or Z the most? You can create maps of where folks are at. You can do icebreakers on there. You can do a lot of different things with Poll Everywhere.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
So if you can put in your one takeaway from today's session so that we can see what folks are learning and how they're processing and thinking about the content.
I'll go ahead and share. I'm really thankful for this. I'm a third grade teacher in South, and by the end of the quarter, one of the things that we need to do is to be able to be strong in an app that we can teach our colleagues, or our coworkers. So getting to know all of these apps here that you have gone through so far, it'll be nice to use with my kids, but also to be able to share with my colleagues. So it's really nice to have these resources. So yeah, thank you.
I want to thank you, Mona, for sharing all the information. I finally got I called back on my phone so I could smile at everybody. But anyways, I am thankful for the tools of all of these different, the tools that you shared with us. And I'll take that back to the Salt River community where I work and utilize these and get to know them a little bit better. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mona. I would also want to use this as well for our early academic outreach, which I work for U of A, especially with different students working middle schoolers and high schoolers. because the middle schools, I want to not be so much content oriented. I want to make the kids happy, you know, when we present about college access, and ways we could do the breakout rooms and make comment or make like you did on Jamboard and make something funny for them. That's really important. So appreciate it.
Awesome. So there's a lot of comments here. Mona, Miriam was requesting the list of resources. We can send that to her. We will record this and put it out on our website. Maria, our intern, is working to update the website so that we created a whole new page that just will have the recordings. So it'll be a little bit easier to navigate. So it's just all the previous recordings. So we'll put Mona's session up there.
Well, just again, thank you so much, Mona. Thank you for everyone for joining us. And then just lastly, in terms of news at the University of Arizona, we just got the word or the official announcement that our first senior vice president for Native American advancement and tribal engagement was recently announced. And that person is Levi Esqueda from the Chemehuevi tribe. And so that is exciting news for the U of A. We're hoping that his work will help to bring more support to Native students, faculty, and staff on our campus. So we just kind of thought we'd end with that. That's good news.
I was so excited to read about Levi when you posted it. So hopefully that will change some things at U of A and change the, you know, which way in the way it's been going. So. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. I don't want Amanda and Felice to be late for their class. Take care, everybody, and look for our announcement coming. Please share the announcements when they come out with your, you know, with your colleague and friend base. So take care, everybody. Bye.